Alright, class. Mr. Clinton clapped her hands as she stood in front of the board. I've corrected your history papers. I must say, some of you exceeded my expectations, and some, she glanced toward the bag, continue to disappoint me like it's a family tradition. The class laughed, well, almost everyone. You sat up straighter in your chair, fingers laced neatly on your notebook. You knew you had done well. You had to. There was no room for anything else when your parents practically equated grades with self worth. Ryan, Miss Clinton said with a raised brow. 98. Impressive as always. A round of soft applause followed as you got up to collect your paper. But you didn't smile, you simply nodded and returned to your seat. Then came the name that made your blood pressure spike. John Jungkook. There was a slight pause in the air, that half second where everyone turned in anticipation. He got up, adjusted the strap of his backpack, walked down the aisle with that stupid confident smirk on his face, and extended his hand toward the teacher. 95. Oh, Ria from the front row yelled. Ryan finally beat John Jung, know it all. You bit your lip, but you didn't react. Nope, not going to feed his ego. You didn't even have to turn around to feel the heat of his stare. As he passed your desk, he muttered just loud enough for you to hear. 3 marks. Don't get too excited, Nerd Queen. You raised your brow. Nerd Queen rules the kingdom of better grades. You can be the court jester. The class oohed in delight. Even Miss Clinton smiled and shook her head. He sat down behind you, huffing a little. Fluck. Skill. Cheat. It's a talent. You two had a history of this since 8th grade, when you both joined the same tuition classes and ended up on opposite team during a quiz. It's been a war. From sports to debates, even who answers the teacher's question first, your rivalry was legendary. I swear one day I'm going to beat you so bad. Can't beat what you can't reach. You said, not even looking back. More oohs, more laughters, but beneath it all was tension, sharp and tight like a violin string being pulled to its limit. So you finally dethroned King Jungkook. Your best friend Mira teased, sliding her tray beside you. I don't care about him. You lied with a completely fake shrug. He's annoying and needs constant validation. Oh, please, you two compete like it's your love language. Your friend Baekhyun chimed in, taking a huge bite of his sandwich. Gross, you and Mira said at the same time. Just then a loud cheer erupted. Jungkook had walked into the canteen, basketball in hand, shirt slightly sweat-stained from morning practice, and all the attention in the world. How does he always look like a teen drama character? Mira mumbled. Villain, more like. You said, but you still looked, and then he looked too, right at you. You rolled your eyes first. But he smirked like he had won something. Okay, settle down, class. Mr. Kim sighed. Group up in pairs for the DNA extraction experiment. And no, you cannot work with your best friends. You prayed, but fate hated you. Ryan and Jungkook, you looked up. No way, you and Jungkook said in unison. The class laughed again. Deal with it and don't poison each other. You sat beside him on the lab table, arms folded. Don't get in my way, you muttered. I won't, I'll just let you trip over your own need to be perfect. You narrowed your eyes. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, he smiled. Just that you have got this thing, always writing and rewriting notes like your life depends on it, like a pen has OCD. Still better than you. You rolled your eyes and pulled on your gloves quickly, trying not to show your hands too much. It was an unconscious move now, one you had mastered over the years. Pull the sleeves down, keep your fingers bent just enough, and never rest your hands flat on the table where someone could really see them. But of course, Jungkook noticed everything, especially when he wasn't supposed to. You good? He asked, watching you fumble with the gloves. I'm fine, you said curtly. You're acting weird. Well, weirder. You ignored him, focusing on labeling the beaker, but your pen slipped slightly and the marker ink smudged your glove. Nice, real stable hands, Brainiac. You said nothing. Chuckle, you always do that thing, like chew on your nails like you're trying to erase them off your fingers. I'm pretty sure they don't even look like nails anymore. Your hand froze mid-air. He kept going, oblivious. Seriously, you ever compare your hands to the other girls in class? Like Ava or Chloe? Their hands look like hand cream commercials. Yours look like they have been through a war. Do you dig holes or what? He slowly put the pen down. Jungkook laughed again, softer now, like he thought you would fire back with a roast of your own, but you didn't. You just turned to him and said quietly, "You really don't know when to stop, do you?" He blinked. This was the first time you didn't snap back, and he knew he crossed a line. Wait, I. Before he could finish, you were already gathering your things. Wine, come on, it was a joke. What's the big deal? You didn't look at him. Didn't tell him that nail biting wasn't a gross habit for you. It was how you cope with the pressure of being perfect all the time. That every time your mom reminded you about how flawless Ava's report cards was, or your dad compared your posture, your tone, your existence to someone else's daughter, you had to find a way to breathe. And sometimes chewing your nails was the only thing that made you feel real again, but Jungkook didn't know that, so you left without another word. He stood near the bike rack, staring blankly at the asphalt. Of all people, he had to point it out in front of everyone laughing. You just couldn't forget that. Fine. Jungkook's voice echoed behind you. You didn't move. Look, if I went too far. You didn't go too far. You said flatly, not even turning around. You just ripped open something you don't understand. That's all. He stepped beside you, brows furrowed, eyes scanning your face. I was messing around. That's what we do. You let out a breath, still not looking at him. You know, not everything has to be a joke. Not everything is meant to be picked apart for your entertainment. His lips parted slightly. I didn't mean to. I know. You cut in, finally meeting his eyes. But that doesn't mean it didn't hurt. And with that, you walked away, leaving him standing with a realization he hurt you deeply. Your room was spotless, no clutter, no mess, not even a pen out of place, but inside your head, it felt like a storm. You sat at your desk, rewriting notes for a chapter you already understood, highlighters in a perfect row, your lamp glowed soft yellow over your pages. Then came the knock. Your mother didn't wait before entering. You need to get ready. We are leaving in 10 minutes. For what? Dinner at the Zoo family's house. The daughter just got accepted into Stanford. Of course she did. You look down at your notes. I have a quiz tomorrow. Your mother folded her arms. You already know this material. Still, you'll come. Wear that white shirt I got you. Look neat and don't chew your nails. It looks terrible. The words hit like a punch you had taken 1,000 times before. Terrible, not grateful, not good enough. You didn't respond, just nodded. She left like she always did, without a second glance. You sat quietly while the adults talked about degrees, internships, and Ivy League schools like they were seasonal groceries. So, Ryan, Mrs. Zhu smiled. Have you applied for the early research program your mother mentioned? You nodded politely. I'm preparing for the test next month. Oh, how wonderful. You're always so perfect, aren't you? You smile the way you were trained to. I try. Your father cut in, laughing lightly. She better be. We didn't send her to a top school for average grades. Your stomach twisted. Our daughter always makes us proud. We are lucky. The next day, you stood by your locker, organizing your folders like you always did, subject wise, alphabetically, color coded tabs. Your fingers twitched as they hovered over the blue folder for chemistry. You caught yourself chewing your thumbnail and stopped immediately, shoving your hands into your pockets. Then you saw him, Jungkook, walking up the hallway, shoulder bumping into a sophomore without apologizing, hair slightly messy like he just rolled out of bed, earbuds in, but only one working as always. He noticed you and walked towards you. Ryan, you didn't look at him, didn't glance, didn't smirk, didn't say a word. You turned away and walked off without acknowledgement, leaving him sighing. Why is she getting all ignorant over that? He ran a frustrated hand through his hair. He took the seat next to you like he usually did, two seats in the middle row, third from the window, unofficial assigned seats. He drummed his fingers on the table, then leaned over a bit. So, not gonna yell at me today? You didn't react. He blinked, looked genuinely confused. Are you okay? He asked, this time a little softer. Still no response. You turned a page in your notebook and underlined the quote from The Great Gatsby. I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world. A beautiful little fool. He narrowed his eyes. Okay, silent treatment? Seriously? Still nothing. He slumped back in his chair, clicking his pen way too many times. Wow, this is worse than you insulting me. You didn't even blink, and that's how it went. All day he followed you into the cafeteria, trying to poke fun at your habit of sitting near the window. You moved to another seat. He accidentally dropped his water bottle beside your desk. You didn't pick it up. He called your name once in chemistry, twice in the hallway. Each time you walked away like he didn't exist. Come on, Mayan. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. I was insensitive to point out that I didn't know it was such a big deal. You can talk. You didn't stop walking. He matched your pace, calling after you again. Then he reached out and grabbed your wrist. Your reaction was immediate. You yanked your hand out of his grip like his touch burned. He froze. You turned to him slowly, your jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Your eyes, usually so focused, calm, put together, were shimmering now, but not because you were about to cry, because you were furious. You didn't know. Your voice wasn't loud, it was cold, too steady to be okay. Jungkook stepped back slightly confused. I just said what I saw. I thought you would, I don't know, roast me like usual. Because that's all this is to you, right? A game, a competition, a stupid battle for who can one up the other first in front of the class. He blinked. I mean, yeah, kinda. Isn't that what we do? Not everything is a joke, Jungkook. Not everything some battle you get to win. He looked at you, then really looked. For the first time, it hit him that this wasn't the same Ryan who snapped back with sarcasm in lit class or smirked when she beat him in debate. This was a version he didn't know, the one he never knew. You took a breath, but it came out shaky. Do you have any idea what it's like to feel like you are constantly falling short? That no matter how high your grades are, no matter how clean your room is, no matter how well you behave in front of people, someone at home is still disappointed because you're not perfect enough. He didn't respond, not even a blink. I bite my nails because I'm trying to keep myself from falling apart half the time, because it's either that or scream or cry, and crying isn't allowed in my house. We don't have time for breakdowns, so yeah, maybe my nails look disgusting. Maybe they look like they have been through a war. You know why? Because they have. There was a pin drop silence. The corridor around you was empty, just you, him, and the air growing heavier with every word. I didn't know. You didn't ask. That made him flinch. You think you know everything about everyone because you were smart and funny and charming when you want to be? But you never bothered to ask why I study like my life depends on it, why I show up early, why I never talk about weekends or birthdays or my fun summer trips. You never asked, Jungkook. You just assumed. His voice was barely a whisper now. I never wanted to hurt you. You folded your arms, biting down the lump rising in your throat. Well, you did. Congratulations. You finally won. You turn away again, this time without looking back, and this time he didn't follow. After the hallway confrontation, you continue to ignore Jungkook completely. You never once looked at him, replied to him, or gave him the satisfaction of a glare, but their silence made him realize something he didn't notice before. He missed your voice even when it was yelling at him. Something in him shifted. Suddenly he wasn't teasing you anymore. He started noticing the little things, how your fingers twitched when you were anxious, how you tapped your pen when trying to hold back from chewing your nails. So he started doing things, quite small, meaningful things. He put a banana milk carton on your desk one morning, his favorite one, the one he never shared with anyone. You didn't touch it, but you didn't throw it away either. During a history class, when you were clearly overwhelmed, your nails already halfway to your lips, he gently held your hand for a few seconds. No words, no teasing, just warmth. And slowly, without realizing it, he began to fall for you. Not the version he competed with, but the version behind the silence. The version who was always trying so hard just to keep it together. But the moment it became undeniably real for both of you, that came in the rain. The rain had started without warning. One second you were walking out of school, and the next thunder rolled and fat drops poured from the sky. You ducked under the awning near the school gates, hugging your backpack tighter as the cold breeze snuck into your sleeves. You stared at the falling water, silently hoping it would stop. It didn't. Minutes passed. Most students had already left. Cars, buses, bikes gone. The sky grew darker. Your phone buzzed once with a text from home. Sorry, sweetheart, can't come. Your mom and I are in an important meeting. You sighed, adjusting your bag on your shoulder. Footsteps came up behind you, steady, unhurried. You didn't turn around, but yeah, you didn't have to. Still here? Jungkook's voice came from just behind your shoulder, annoyingly familiar. You didn't answer. He stepped beside you and popped open his umbrella with a soft click. The black canopy spread over both of you, shielding you from the sideways gusts of rain. You glanced at him. You don't have to wait here. He didn't even look at you. I'm not. You raised an eyebrow. Then what are you doing? I'm walking home. In the rain? He tilted his head toward the umbrella, smirking slightly. Not anymore. You looked back out at the road. The rain wasn't letting up. Jungkook held the umbrella just slightly more over you than himself. His shoulders was getting soaked. Are you planning to stay here till night or? He said casually. You didn't reply. He glanced at you. You'll catch a cold standing here. You already look miserable. I'm fine, you muttered. He raised an eyebrow. Right, because shivering under a tin roof in wet socks is the dream. You exhaled, half annoyed, half unsure. It was hard to tell with him. Everything used to be so easy when you hated him. You could just go. I could, he agreed, but I'm not going to. You turned to look at him fully, finally. Why do you care? He shrugged lightly. I don't know, maybe I just don't like seeing you like this. You paused. Jungkook didn't press, he didn't tease like he used to. He just stood there, umbrella in hand, waiting, and maybe it was the cold, maybe it was how tired you were, or maybe it was just him, but slowly, without a word, you stepped closer until the umbrella fully covered both of you. He said nothing, just looked forward, like it was no big deal. And then quietly, so quiet you almost didn't hear it, he said, Let's go home. And this time you didn't argue. It was morning, you got ready for school, but as always, your parents, you had enough of their complaints. You finally burst out. Words that had been bubbling for years, words that finally escaped. No matter what I do, it's never enough for you. You shouted, standing in the middle of the living room, your backpack slung over one shoulder, fists clenched. Top marks, awards, quiet, perfect. I have done all of it. I have done everything you ever asked. Your father stared at you, lips pressed into that same disapproving line you had grown up with. We only want what's best for you. No, you want what's best for you. You want a daughter you can show off like a report card, not a real person. Your mother stood frozen like you had just spoken another language. Tears filled in her eyes. She finally understood the pain. I'm tired, you said finally, voice breaking. I'm so tired of trying to be perfect when I'm barely even okay. And then you turned. You didn't wait for their reply, you didn't want to hear the cold explanations or see their disappointment. You just grabbed the front door handle with a shaky hand and pushed it open. Your mom dropped on the couch, covering her mouth. The sky outside was grey, heavy with clouds, matching the swirl of chaos in your chest, and there, like fate or coincidence or something in between, stood Jungkook, right in front of your gate, holding his bicycle by the handlebars. He had clearly came to pick you up for school, probably still not expecting you to say anything, but maybe hoping you would. He wasn't smiling, he looked up from his phone, startled when the door slammed open, and then he saw your face. Your eyes were shining, and not because of the sunlight. Your lips were trembling from the words you didn't say out loud. You were already walking fast, down the sidewalk, away from the school route, away from everything. He called after you, uncertain. Wyan. You didn't respond. Your head was down, your fists clenched, the straps of your backpack like it was the only thing holding you together. Jungkook looked around, dropping his cycle without a second thought, and ran after you. Wyan, wait. Stop, just wait. He caught up, his footsteps fast and soft against the pavement. You felt his hand gently wrap around your wrist. His voice, the one that used to annoy you in class, the one that used to challenge you in every debate, sounded like shelter now. Hey, he said gently, what happened? That was all it took. One word, one person asking like they actually cared. Your knees buckled under the weight of it, and then you burst. The sob escaped before you could swallow it. Your hand shot up to cover your mouth to keep it in, but your shoulders shook violently as the tears finally spilled. Messy, ugly, raw. You turned away from him, ashamed, but he didn't let you go. He stepped forward without hesitation, his arms wrapped around your back, pulling you into the warmest, most human embrace you had ever known. I got you, he whispered, his chin resting on your shoulder. It's okay, you don't have to hold it all in anymore. You cried harder and he just held you. No questions, no pressure, no fixing, just presence. You buried your face in his shoulder, fists clenched in his uniform jacket as he held you like he was keeping your whole world from falling apart. No one had ever let you cry like this before. No one had ever made it feel safe. You don't have to be perfect with me, he whispered, barely audible over the sound of your own quiet sobs. Not even a little bit. You don't remember how long you stood there like that, on the side of the street, his arms wrapped around you, your guard crumbling piece by piece. But when you finally pulled back, eyes red, throat raw, he didn't laugh, he didn't make a single joke. He just looked at you with complete understanding. And for the first time in what felt like forever, you believed someone really saw you. Not the grades, not the quietness, just you. Spring crept in quietly, cherry blossoms dusted the sidewalks, the air smelled less like rain and more like new beginnings. The tension that once made your chest tighten in the mornings was gone, replaced with something lighter, something warmer. It had been a few weeks since you broke down outside your house in Jungkook's arms. You never talked much about it. You didn't have to, because after that day, something changed between you two. He still showed up at your gate every morning, but now he walked beside you instead of teasing you for being slow. He still slid banana milk onto your desk, but now he sat beside you during lunch too, his shoulder brushing yours like second nature. He still noticed when your fingers twitched toward your mouth, but you didn't chew your nails anymore. Not once, instead, you were letting them grow. It was strange at first, watching the soft curve of something unfamiliar taking shape at the ends of your fingers. They weren't pretty yet, they weren't long, but they were yours, and that was enough. You mentioned it offhandedly one morning. I've never had nails before. You mumbled, looking down at your hands as you sat on the steps outside school. Jungkook turned to you, eyes curious. Never? You shook your head. Never let them grow long enough. Guess I always ruined them before they even had a chance. He stared at you for a second longer than you expected. Come with me, you blinked. To where? Just trust me, he said with a small grin, grabbing your wrist, not tight, just enough to tug you to your feet. The little boutique was tucked between a flower shop and a cafe. Soft music played inside, the scent of citrus and polish floating in the air. You looked around hesitant. Jungkook shrugged. You said you have never had nails, so let's get you your first set. You laughed, actually laughed, fully for the first time in weeks. You brought me to a nail salon? He gave a casual smile, sliding onto the sofa beside you in the waiting area. I figured, if you are growing them now, might as well do something cool. Celebrate it. The laughter quieted, turning to something softer. This is sweet, weird but sweet. He looked at you then, not like a rival, not like a challenge, but like someone who genuinely adored seeing you glow, even if it was over something small. You don't have to fight everything all the time, you know. You're allowed to do things just because they make you feel good, not because someone expects you to. You looked at him, really looked, and something cracked open inside you. The version of Jungkook you had built in your head all year, arrogant, cocky, annoying, was gone. This version, he was safe, he was gentle, and he was yours. Later that night, text message. So, do I get to see your nails or what? You were literally there the whole time. Yeah, but I want to see them on your hands while you are smiling. That's different. You stare at your phone, a soft flutter blooming in your chest. Thank you for today. You don't have to thank me for caring about you. I kinda fell for you the moment you stopped yelling and started ignoring me, you know? Your eyes widened. Why? Because it made me realize I missed your voice, and your fire, and your weird brain, and the way you try to hide how soft you actually are. And I guess I didn't want to be the reason you stayed quiet. I wanted to be the reason you healed. You didn't reply immediately because sometimes silence said everything, and this time it didn't hurt. The sky was golden, the air thick with the scent of summer. You stood by the railings, your graduation sash fluttering slightly in the breeze. Students laughed in groups behind you, but you stayed still, watching the horizon. Until he appeared beside you. Hey, Jungkook said, his voice quieter than usual. You turned to him with a soft smile. Hey. He pulled something from his bag, a small square envelope. I wrote you something, he muttered, cheeks pink. It's not great, I suck at words unless I'm arguing, but you opened it slowly. Inside was a letter, short, a little messy, but so perfectly him. To the girl who made me grow up without even trying. I loved competing with you, I loved fighting with you, but I love seeing you at peace more. You're not perfect, you never had to be, you are just you. And that's always been more than enough for me. You folded the letter with trembling hands, and before you could say anything, Jungkook leaned in, pressed a soft kiss to your temple. I'm proud of you, he whispered, for everything. You didn't cry this time because this wasn't a breaking moment, it was a healing one.